Oh, hey, oh, hey.
Hi, I'm Timothy Williams. I'm your host for Keeping It Real Talk Show. And today's topic is Speak Up and Speak Out. And we're glad you tuned in to Keeping It Real Talk Show. Even on today, you're in for a treat. We have a young lady that was molested at the age of 7, and she's here today to tell us about her story. So how you doing today, Toshamba?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Glad to have you on Keeping It Real,
Glad
you
to be
know.
here.
Great, 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 great. Hey, it's going to be a wonderful show today. Now, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Toshamba Jones. I'm 25. I graduated. I grew up and raised here in
Hmm.
Elba. I graduated from Elba High. I got my bachelor's from Troy in sports medicine, and I'm working on my master's in sport management. I'm employed in Troy, and I recently just moved back here when I had my little
Hmm.
girl, maybe like a year or so ago.
Great. So tell us a little bit about your story.
Okay. At 7, I was
Hmm.
molested by a close family member of mine. It's someone, it's even though he wasn't the ideal person to look up to.
Right.
At that age, at 7, that's your big cousin. That's
Uh
somebody
huh.
like, somebody you want to hang around and be with. And so that's somebody I looked up to and very close to. And they took it upon themselves for like maybe about 6, 7 months to
Hmm.
violate me in a way that, he shouldn't have.
Right.
And so it was an experience to go
Right.
through.
So at the age of 7, you was violated. Now, when you were violated or molested at the age of 7, what did that do to you mentally? I know that at the age of 7, we talked about how you didn't speak up or speak out at that time. Why didn't you speak out?
Well, at that age, your parents tell you, somebody touch you in that way or
Hmm.
violate you, speak up, tell them, But just like when you see a scary movie, and well, why didn't that girl run? Or I would have did this way, I would have did
Hmm.
it that way. But when you face with that situation yourself, you don't know what you're going to do. And also, he was like, you're going to get in trouble. It's your
Hmm.
fault. I'm doing this because of you. And so at the age of 7, I'm not finna get in trouble for no one. I'm not finna sit here
Right.
and get a whooping for, for doing
Hmm.
something, even though I'm not sure why, it's my fault, but
Uh-huh.
I'm not finna get in trouble. So I kept it in for a little over 5 years because, at that age between
Hmm.
7 and 12, I don't want to get in trouble. But it was through that period that I realized that it was not my fault. And that's when I started
Right.
trying to open up to friends, and that led me to tell
Hmm.
family. And so at that age, it was just basically being in trouble. I didn't want to be in
So
trouble.
at the age of 12, that's when you really came out. You begin to speak out and speak up.
At age of 12, we was at lunch with one of my
Hmm.
friends and at school, and she told me that my parents had a right to know. I need to
Uh-huh.
tell my parents that's not something that we had went through. Sex education class in elementary school, our 6th grade year, and at 7th grade we had another class, and they told
Hmm.
that's not right. And so that's when I started to speak out about it, and she told me to tell my
Hmm.
parents. And when I told my parents, they were furious, they were mad,
Right.
they wanted to. I don't know what they wanted to do to him, but
Hmm.
they want to go confront him. But with me, I begged them not to, and even though as hard as it was, for
Hmm.
them to swallow, they looked at it as, okay, I went through this whole 5 years dealing with it by myself, not saying
Right.
anything to them, dealing with the pain behind it by myself. And they don't want to bring it up because then I would have to relive the situation all over again by, whether
Hmm.
I don't know what the statute of limitations is for it, but I would have to, tell the police and all that.
Right.
They don't want to drag me through that again. And
Hmm.
so they didn't like it, but they respected my decisions in that of not saying anything. But
Right.
by me telling them that, it kind of opened up the wound a little bit anyway, because
Hmm.
now, it's not just me knowing about it. It's my
Right.
parents knowing
That's
about it.
right.
It's my friend knowing
Hmm.
about it. And not too many people know about it, but,
Hmm.
it's the fact that I had to tell them and really look at it like, wow, like this was done to me and this was something that
Hmm.
was wrong.
That's right. That's right. Wow. So, as you begin to grow up, you done told your parents and
Hmm.
everything. You done spoke out about what had happened, and as you begin to move forth from age of 12 to probably about 15, how did that affect you mentally? I mean, I noticed something here when I saw your posts on Facebook, and what really stuck out to me was that the forgiveness. You know what I'm saying? Because I tell people all the time, um, when someone does something wrong to you and they do you wrong and they hurt you, you know what I'm saying? Forgiveness is for the individual, not the violator, because you know the violator can just go on with their life. But when you're the victim has been hurt, you know what I'm saying, you have to tell yourself, if I'm going to forgive or I'm just going to hold this in and let it eat me to pieces, you know what I'm saying, because it's just like cancer, it would tear you from the inside out. And so what really caught my attention was your story is that you forgave him. you know I know how you did it, but can you elaborate on how did you do that? Because, you know, at the age of 7, your innocence was taken away from you. And, you know, how can you get to the point of, you know, just saying, hey, I'm going to forgive him? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, I started developing my hatred when between about 12 and 14. I think when it's close to the 14 where I started developing really bad reproductive and female issues. And, you know, my doctor explained that, you know, it was due to the trauma at a young age where I'm taking 16, 17 pills a day. I'm sitting here having countless, you know, number of surgeries and shots and all. And that's where my hatred built in. You know, I'm going through all this pain because, you know, because of you, because of him. And it's something I didn't have to go through. And so I started hating him. I started, well, you know, I wanted to inflict all this type of harm on him. Like, well, I want him to go through the same thing. As bad as, you know, as bad as that sound, you know, I wanted him to go through that type of pain. But in the process of me wanting him to go through that, my hatred is building up pretty bad.
Right.
You know, I'm hating him to the point where he disgusts me, and which I guess, you know, is normal with, you know, that type of situation.
Right.
But, you know, it's developing in me, and, you know, it's years and years going by, and I'm still hating him. I'm 20 years old by this time, and I'm still hating him. And I had to realize, you know, that I'm condemning myself to hell, you know, by, you know, developing this hatred, and my heart is heavy, and, you know, he's going on with his life. He done moved, you know, to a different state. He's going on with his life.
Right.
And I'm sitting here holding myself back and being, you know, mad at myself for something I didn't do.
Right.
And it really is a heavy burden on your heart. Like, it really tears you to pieces because that's all you think about. You're depressed now.
Right.
And I have this happy, optimistic personality. You know, I don't never show any type of pain in front of people. I usually keep it to myself. But, you know, you going home at night and you crying yourself to sleep.
Right.
Or you sitting there, you know, you can't function by yourself because you're going through this stuff. And so finally, matter of fact, it was this preacher that I went to see in Troy one day, and he was preaching about forgiveness, and that's really what started. You know, he made sense. It's like, well, it's not for you. It's for you know, it's not for the other person. It's for you. And I really started to sit there and listen to him. It's like, you know what? Like, he's going on with his life, and I'm sitting here dwelling in the past. And
that's
you know,
right.
even though it made sense, you know, for me to, you know, think about that, but that's when I talked to him about it. And I didn't go into too many details, but I talked to him about it, and I really looked within myself and realized that I need to let go of the situation and forgive him for all the pain that he has caused me, all the pain that I'm going through now. I had to sit there and forgive him for it. And it really opened me up. It really led me to the point where I have some relief now. I can sit here and I can really I can breathe and realize that, you know what? I'm thankful I went through the situation. You know, now I'm thankful for it. But the forgiveness part it was basically relieving myself from all the burden and the hatred and all the harm that he inflicted.
Definitely. Hey, stay tuned. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. Let's go. We're going to head over to Grandmama's. And you remember what me and your mom, you know, how we was talking to you all at the kitchen about how, you know, you all was blessed, you know. You get in the front, Melissa. Holding up traffic there with them boys.
That's Zay Day, the one that you mentor at the youth center.
I know that ain't Zay.
Yes, it is.
Just call come up, deliver this, and make sure you get the money now.
All right, I got you.
Is that all right?
Yeah, I'm doing. How you doing?
Hey, man, you got some of that good stuff?
Yeah, I got that good stuff. What you need?
Hey, give me the 100% real.
You got the money?
Man, I got plenty, man. How much do I need?
All right, that's good enough.
Can I see what I'm buying? Oh, that's it, man.
All right.
See, man, that's easy money, man. man.
Yeah, you ain't lying, man.
Money, man.
That's something I can get used to, you feel me?
What y'all doing on the street corner, man?
Just chilling, how you doing?
How you doing?
Y'all better not be doing that bad stuff.
Nah, no, man.
I know this ain't Zay. What are you doing? Hey, man, what are you doing, man? Here on the street corners, man.
Man, what it look like? I'm trying to make ends meet. You don't know what it's like being raised in a single-parent home.
Like, I do know what it's like to be raised in a single-parent home. My mom had to raise 5 of us. My father wasn't even there, and she was left with all these kids trying to raise all of us. Now, I do know what it's like, you know what I'm saying, being raised in a single-parent home. But being here on the street corners trying to make that easy money ain't gonna get it, man. You know what I'm saying? This is a quick way for you to go to prison or get killed. You know, they ain't gonna tell you, your homeboys here is not gonna tell you that this is risky because they gotta keep watching their backs. You see what I'm saying? They gotta watch their backs. They're always looking over their shoulders, wondering if the police gonna ever, you know, come by and bust them, or if one of them gonna turn on one another. You see what I'm saying? They're not gonna tell you that. They just gonna get you here and say, man, this is a quick way to make money. I've learned that trying to make the easy money is not good for you, because you'll end up dead, you know what I'm saying, or in prison somewhere. You know, I know times are tough. I know times are tough. You know, I saw you in the youth program, you know, mentoring you. I didn't know it was that hard, you know, at home. You know, I don't care how hard things get or how rough it may get, man, you don't have to settle for less. You don't have to, you know, get on the street corners with your homeboys and sell drugs to make that quick and easy money. You hear me? You got to work for it. You know, it's one thing my mother always taught us, is that that easy money, you know what I'm saying, will get you in trouble. And you'll never appreciate that easy money. You know, when people are handing you out stuff, you know, they'll tell you, it's all, it ain't nothing gonna happen to you, man. You know what I'm saying? When you get in jail, what they gonna be at? Huh? Can you call on them when you get locked up?
Can't.
You know, they gonna leave you hanging, man. I've seen it happen before. You know, going to the prisons, talking to people in the prison, man, and they'll tell you, you know, I ask them, where your homeboys at? They say, hey, I got your back. Where they at now? They know where to be found. So trying to make this easy money on the street corner is not going to get it, man. You know, you're better than that. You know what I'm saying? You know, you came to the youth center, we mentored you. You're better than this. You know, you don't have to do this. You know, you can get you a job, work for it, and you know that hard money, you know, working hard for it, you appreciate it. So you don't have to be out here on the street corners. Now, what are you going to do?
I guess I got to do the right thing, right?
The right thing, that's right.
Get a job.
That's right. If somebody hire you, I'll help you get a job.
Okay.
You know, don't do this because it'll get you in trouble. Man, there's cameras up here watching these cats. You don't know if you've been on camera. You don't know if you're on camera or not. But I'll help you. I'll do whatever I can to help you, man, because this is not the way. You know what I'm saying? Slinging drugs is not the way. But work for it. And I'm in your corner, man, and we're here for you, all right? We love you.
Love you too.
And we're back with Ms. Toshamba. You know, one of the things that we're talking about, this topic today, is, you know, speak up and speak out. It's very important that, you know, young women, young guys, you know, it's not just happening to the, you know, young girls, but it's happening to little boys. Little boys are being, you know, molested at an early age, and young girls. You know, what really gets me is that why is it, you know, I asked a question, you know, before I came on the set with you. It began to bother my mind because I begin to go back and I begin to look at it. Why is it that the enemy is attacking our 7-year-old? You know what I'm saying? He's not, you know, he's getting them at an early age. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to mess up, you know, our young kids' future, you know, at an early age. And, you know, and I begin to, you know, just begin to let that play back in my mind. And I begin to say, Lord, why is it? And the Lord began to speak to me. He says, you know, the reason for this is that if the enemy can mess them up early, you know what I'm saying, plant that bad seed into their mind. And he simply said, I've got them, because what the enemy has done is that he has peeped into all of our future, you know what I'm saying? And he has seen what God is about to do in our lives. And so he come to disrupt that thing. But we want to encourage, you know, young kids, parents, you know, don't hold anything in, but speak out and speak up, because you got to be heard. Let somebody know, you know, what's going on. And, you know, and this is what, you know, Toshamba is here today to talk about. Speak up. What was your trust level You
I
know.
didn't have any trust.
Uh-huh.
If during the part where I was going through the hatred in my heart, I developed.
Uh-huh.
I didn't trust any guy or anyone. I didn't. Besides my dad and my brothers,
Right.
and a few close cousins. I didn't
Uh-huh.
trust. I didn't even trust family members because it was a family member who
Uh-huh.
done this. So I
Right.
didn't trust anyone really. And as far as relationship wise, that led to me. And I guess a lot of my trust issues with guys come from me picking the wrong guys too, because I'm looking at that age, I was violated by, my cousin, at that age I didn't know, but, looking
Uh-huh.
back on it as I got older, he was heavily into drug abuse and
Right.
he was, sort of an alcoholic and everything. And so, with him taking my innocence away at that age, as weird as it may sound, you kind of attract yourself more so to those type of guys
Right.
as you get older. And, I didn't attract anyone that was an alcoholic or anything like that, but it was like, the bad boy type. That's what I was more attracted to. And I didn't trust them to begin with, but, I was drawn to them.
Uh-huh.
And so I didn't trust them around me. I didn't trust their decision as far as, I didn't even trust them being with me.
Right.
I didn't trust anything that they did. They said, hey, I'm going to do this. I didn't I'm thinking they're going to do something, awful and terrible, and still I'm allowing myself to be with them. And that developed all the way up until I say I was about 22, and I started volunteering at this this group home in Troy, and it was Save a Life, and they started talking. It was a lot of females that went through the same thing I went through, but they became abusers themselves. They became prostitutes, and they really had it worse than I do, and they had deeper trust
Some
issues.
battles
They
that
was going through some battles.
Right.
And that's because they were still holding in, still, holding that grudge against,
Right.
their offenders. But that's when I started opening myself up and like, you know what, Shamba? You the one who's setting because at that point, I'm setting myself up because I don't have any trust in anybody. I have my guard way up.
Right.
I'm not allowing myself to get close to anyone. I'm not, I'm messing myself up. And I ended up getting into this relationship. Backing up a couple years, I ended up getting into this relationship with this guy, and he was a few years older than me, and he was I'm not saying he was any good, but I went towards him because he reminded me so much of my cousin, and like I said, it's crazy and as wrong as that sound, I was attracted to it.
Right.
Where, he was doing me wrong. We got into a physical altercation. Sometimes he fractured my jaw. Like we kind of really got into it, but I sit back and look at it like me having the trust issues and allowing him to do that has a lot to do with what I went through at that age.
Right.
So my trust is just, I didn't have any. Like I didn't trust myself with anybody. My self-esteem became really, really low, and that had a lot to do with the trust level that I have with guys.
Right.
Because I'm just now recently starting to be able to let my guard down a little bit and let someone in, like someone good in, I guess.
Right, right.
So I didn't have any trust issues at that age.
Right. And as you begin to say that, what really began to hit me, it was a seed that was planted. Just like we were saying earlier that, the enemy wanted to plant that seed, you know what I'm saying? And so there was a seed there that was planted, but you begin to unroot that thing, by allowing God to heal you and to, to manifest in your life. And, I can never forget, when I first came in contact with my wife, we started talking, started dating, and that is when she opened up to me and began to tell me about how she was violated at an early age. She was molested, and at the time when she started telling me this stuff, man, I'll never forget, we went to Ryan's and we sat down and we began to eat, and she said, "Can I trust you?" You know what I'm saying? With some deep stuff. And I said, sure. And as she began to open up to me and begin to tell me, she said, "I've never told anyone." She says, "Here it is. I'm a young woman." She was about the age of 21. You know what I'm saying? 20, 21 years of age. And she began to open up and she began to tell me about it. And I found myself, I was getting mad. You know what I'm saying? I had got upset. You know what I'm saying? Like, how in the world can a man take a child's innocence away from them at the age of 7 and 8 years of age? How in the world can they do that? You know what I'm saying? And they hurt this child. And when a child has been molested at an early age, it caused them to act out. You know what I'm saying? They do things that they wouldn't normally do because they don't know how to open up, you know? And we want to encourage young kids that's out there listening to this program today, you know, open up. You know what I'm saying? Let somebody in, you know, that can help you because you can't do it on your own. And, you know, and because when you start holding that stuff in, man, it start eating away at you and you wonder, you know, it does a whole lot to you, you know? And that's what my wife was. And as she began to open up, you know, and reason why I ask you about your trust level is that as my wife, you know, started, you know, go on, we got married and everything, we had kids, right? And now watch this. My wife's trust level was that I'm not leaving my kids around no one. You know what I'm saying? I can't trust nobody, you know, because I've been violated and I'm not going to allow my kids to go through that, you know, and you know, it was, I mean, we went through this thing for years. You know, I've been married 16 years and you know, and in the 10th year, she was able to, you know what I'm saying, release, you know what I'm saying, and begin to bring people in and trust people, you know, with her kids. And for a long time, you know, like you, she didn't have any trust. She didn't. I mean, it wasn't that she was trying to take her anger out on everybody else, but she just wanted to know if she could trust you, you know? And so for a long time, she wouldn't allow the kids to go spend a night with nobody, you know? They couldn't stay with nobody. Because she wants to protect them because she didn't want them to, you know, end up the way she was. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And, you know, and that's why I ask you that because, you know, a lot of times when women or guys has been violated, I mean, they have kids that tend to hold on to their kids, you know, because they don't want nobody to do them like they did, like they've been done, you know. And so that's why I asked. So tell me a little bit as you begin, even in your relationship, how is it in your relationship, the trust level? I know you elaborated on a little bit a few minutes ago, but even in your choices, you know, in relationships, you know?
Well, like I said, before the whole forgiveness set in, before that, you know, when I still had hatred in my heart, like I said, I didn't have any, you know, I didn't trust them to, you know, to tell me, oh, well, Shama, you know, I do love you, or I want to, like, I didn't trust that.
Right.
You know, they were telling the story to me, you know, they would tell me, hey, oh, you know, you're beautiful, this and that. Like, in my mind, it's like, no, I'm not buying that, you know. And
Right.
even though I stayed with them, you know, it's like, no, that's not true. Even with my child's, you know, I have a 2-year-old little girl, and even with her, even with being in a relationship with her father, you know, it was still that level of like, you know, I didn't trust him. I wouldn't. I had to fix that, but I would catch myself like, I'm not even finna leave her alone with him. And, you know, I'm not saying he's not like that, you know, but in back in my mind, it's like, well, hey, a family member, somebody I'm definitely supposed to trust, you know, they did me wrong. You know, anybody could easily do her wrong. You know, I found myself, I didn't want to leave her alone with him, and I definitely wasn't about to leave her alone with, you know, any relatives besides my dad or my brothers. And, it was just something that I had to finally, you know, open myself up. Like, okay, Shama, look, you need to release her just a little bit, you know, not to anyone, you know, not let her go anywhere. But, you know, I had to finally, you know, loosen up a little bit on her, or in my relationship wise. Even when now, you know, I'm dating a guy now, and, you know, I just recently finally started to really open myself, and it took a long time for me to really open myself up a little bit and to, like, you know, I just told him, matter of fact, I just told him maybe a couple days ago about the situation. He didn't even know about it, you know, and so I just told him about the situation. I've known him for a long time. Right. And so it's just, I'm still in the progress now that I'm trying to open up a little bit now. Right.
And that's good, you know, and it's the more we, you know, open up, you know, it brings healing, you know, and I tell people all the time, you got to be willing to release it so God can really, you know, heal you because, you know, like you were saying, you know, at the center, you know, a lot of women are still battling with that. I mean, some of them might have been violated at the age of 6 or 7, you know, like you was, and they're still battling it mentally, you know. And if we're not careful, if we don't release that thing, then the enemy can just have his way, you know, in our life. And you know, as you begin to share your story, I can't help but to think about, you know, things just don't happen just to be happening. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason behind it. But, you know, you don't have to be like your environment. You don't have to be like what you went through. You don't have to allow what you've been through to dictate your outcome. You know what I'm saying? But you can grow from that. And, you know, and one thing I like about it is that you're using it, you know what I'm saying, to mentor other women and to encourage other people to speak up and speak out, that you don't have to go down that wrong path, you know. And what I like about it is that, you know, you went on and furthered your education. You know, you're not strung out on drugs, you know what I'm saying? Because you didn't allow what you went through to bring you down. Because the enemy meant it for your bad, but God meant it for your good. And so that's a plus. Now, I want you to look into that camera, and there may be some young girl or some young boy that is watching this show on today. What can you tell them? Because they're at a breaking point. You know, they don't know what to do. I mean, they've been violated. Their innocence has been taken away from them, and they feel like they're not worth, you know, anything. They're worthless. I mean, life is just, you know what I'm saying, it's upside down. They just feel like giving up, throwing in the towel, and they don't want to speak out and speak up. What can you tell them? I want you to look into that camera for me right there, and I want you to encourage somebody's heart.
The one thing I can say is to just speak up and speak out. The more and more you tell someone, the more and more you speak about it, the better you feel. And that's when your forgiveness, and that's when you start opening up, and that's when your heart becomes able to love again and trust again. And as far as the being strung out on drugs or battling it, it's because you're holding it in. You're not able to tell anyone. You're not able to release that negative energy and that devil that's inside you. And if you just speak up, just tell one person, and that'll lead to you telling another person, and just opening up, and that's when your healing will start.
Toshamba, I want to say thank you, you know, for coming on the show and sharing your testimony. You helped somebody, you know what I'm saying? And I tell people all the time, you know, if you can just help one, you know, it means a lot, you know, and I want to tell you thank you, because it took courage, you know, for you to come on and share your testimony and let people know, you know, what you've been through, and that they don't have to, you know, take that downside, you know. They don't have to be like what they went through, allow their situation to cause them to go down in a, you know, in a hole, you know what I'm saying, and just say it's all over with. But we want to tell you thank you. And we want to encourage parents today and young people that is watching this show to speak up and speak out. Because it's very important that you speak up and speak out. Let people know what's going on. If you've been violated, if you've been molested at an early age, don't hold that stuff in, but let somebody know. You know what I'm saying? And Toshamba said a lot today is that you are not wrong by speaking up and speaking out. Let somebody know, because you don't have to go through this by yourself. And once again, we want to say thank you for tuning in to Keeping It Real Talk Show. And we'll see you next week at the same time. Be blessed is our prayer. I would like to invite you to tune in to Keeping It Real Talk Show on GMAP Broadcast Network every Thursday night at 8 o'clock, where we keep it 100 and we talk real talk. Hi, I'm Timothy Williams.
And I'm Monica Williams.
And we would like to wish you and your family
a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from the Williams family.
Let me hear you say, oh, 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 oh. It's been a real hard top of the month, you had enough. Oh, but it's been hard for everyone, you're not alone. Oh, you've been hurting way too long. Let it go and just move on. Make your way down to the altar, hand it over and leave it there. It's gonna be alright. 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 So everything that you've been worried about, put it on the altar. You need to work it out, here work it out, get put it on the altar. All of your burdens, just bring them on down. You're gonna get an answer to your prayer if you put it on the altar. Prayer changes things. See, I know what God do. Prayer changes things. So take it to the Lord in prayer. Changes things. That's the main thing you want, 'cause prayer changes things. You've been worried and crying, worrying, but you're not alone. You're not alone, no. See, we have a friend named Jesus, and he knows all about it, and he's gonna do what he promised to, oh yeah. See, everything that you've been worried about, put it on the altar. You need him to work it out, he'll work it out again. Put it on the altar. All of like a bird ass, just pray more daddy. Put it on the altar. You got it.